So, what is it that really makes a difference, that really turns the world upside down? I think that really it's loving people and serving people. Not just being nice, but actually loving people to the point that it costs you something. Genuinely preferring other people to yourself, laying yourself and what you want aside for the sake of someone else. Do you know, in the Bible, in a book called John, it says this in John 13:34-35. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. You know, this is absolutely huge, this verse. There's a part of the Bible where in Matthew 22, a guy goes up to Jesus and says, what is the most important commandment of all of them? And he says, love your God with all your heart, your soul and your mind. And then he said, and love one another. It's not easy to do this, but Jesus says, if I was going to sum up everything, just love people. But it doesn't stop there. You see, Jesus then says, not only that, but love people in the way that I have loved you. Now, Jack talked about love last week, about how God loves you passionately, about how God adores you, how God gave his life for you. But more than that, God gave up being God for you. He became human. Would you lay yourself aside, give up the very things that you count as being you in order to serve someone else? The things that you're passionate about, would you give that up for someone else? That's a huge question. And then if that wasn't big enough, the verse says, and it is by this that people will know that you are my disciples. What that means is that people don't know that you're in a relationship with God because you say the right things or because you go to church or because you attend crews. No, they simply know because of how much you love other people. So I have a question for you. If I were to ask one of your closest friends to describe you in one word, what would it be? Just think about it. Okay, so imagine like your best friend. If they described you in one word, what would it be? Now, they might say that you are funny. They might say that you are really clever, that they might say you're passionate. They might say that you're fiery. But God says that they won't know you by those things, but by the fact that you love other people. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't be funny. It doesn't mean that you can't be passionate. It just means love people more than you're funny. Love people more than you are passionate. Do you know, some of your friends might think you're really good looking, and that might be what they think of you. Do you know what? Some of you have got a tough job on your hands because God wants you to love people more than you are better looking. Love needs to be the central thing that we are, and that is a real challenge. You know, in our culture, we are encouraged to put ourselves first. We are encouraged to think about ourselves 99% of the time. Even TV now isn't about just watching what's on, but you watch what you want, when you want. But what if we turn that on our heads? What if we actually thought about other people 99% of the time? That when we walked into school or into a classroom or into our home, we didn't think, what do I want to do? What do I feel in this situation? But what would they want me to do? What would my teacher want me to do right now? What would my parents, my brothers and sisters, what would they want from me? How can I serve them in this moment? We prefer other people to ourselves and think about them more than us. Now, before I finish, I want to be really clear on something. It doesn't mean that you think that you are worse than other people. It doesn't make you think, oh, well, I'm rubbish compared to them, so I'll help them out. You see, and this is really, really important. It's not about thinking less of yourself. It's just about thinking of yourself less. How do we do that? How do we love people so much that we think about ourselves less than we think about those around us? You know, those people make a difference in our lives because they carry love, because they put you before them. It's those people that will make a difference in our life because love outweighs everything else. If we think about the attacks that have happened in Manchester and in London, in our nation in the last few months, do you know the stories that have come out aren't ones of hate, but are stories of love. Why? Because love and service trumps everything else. And Jesus knew that. And that is why he died for us. Do you know, if you want to change the world around you, if you really want to turn it upside down, then you have to live in a way that is upside down. A way that doesn't say that you're the most important, but that other people matter. That your heart is broken for them and you love them and you serve them. So I want to ask you a question. How do you think about other people more? What does it look like for the rest of this evening, for tomorrow, for your heart and your life to be one of love and service? That is what will make a difference, and that is what will change this world.